welcome to our second review of the evening, also the final one. Up this time around is Koropokkur in Love, a little fairy's tale. You might be able to discern by that title, yeah, it's another visual novel. And, it's another visual novel from Manga Gamer, who we did an interview not too long ago about this game. Okay, granted, calling this particular visual novel a game is a bit on the stretchy side because it's one of those true book visual novels. There are no choices here. There's no branching paths. It's literally you read the story and that's it. So
they're usually called kinetic visual novels.
Yeah. And if you're not looking for that kind of visual novel, I'll automatically say stay far away from this one because, yeah, you're not getting anything but the story it wants to tell. So, with that out of the way, this is also a bit of a landmark for Manga Gamer as it's the first visual novel that they've produced and had a hand in creating. They went the pretty typical Kickstarter route to finance the game. It's like not on. We have had other publishers who've done this, like Sekai Project, for example. Manga Gamer has done this for translations as well. Yeah. And then there's the whole Supipara thing, but that's an entirely different branch of thing that's outside of the scope of this review. So by their own admission, this is their first original title on the Japanese side of things. I can't really say about Western visual novels. Once again, that's a whole different area, but for the sake of simplicity, this is their first original title. And it's about the Koropokkur, which is the little people, the fairies.
Yeah, they specifically are small enough to live under the roots of some tree or another.
Yeah,
it's from Ainu folklore in Hokkaido. Hence why it doesn't actually look like a proper Japanese word.
Yeah, their name means one that lives under the leaves of a butterbird tree.
Thankfully, golden kamui is a thing that exists and is letting know what the Ainu people are. If you don't know what the Ainu people culture looks like, or looked like at least say turn of the 20th century, go check that out because golden kamui is done in conjunction with the Ainu people. Anyway, getting back to Koropokkur in Love, it's about it's basically a love story with these fairy people. The main character is not exactly sure how to pronounce this. Azira?
Asirara.
Asahara? It's like
Asirara. Yeah.
Asirara.
It's nicknamed Terrera because it's the little But
she leaves the village to go to live in the human world due to circumstances I really can't talk about because they are major spoilers.
That's one of the things that's one of the things they kind of hold back as a story thing is exactly why.
There's a big reason why they do that because it's kind of the crux of the ending of the game. That's all I can really say about it. Anyway, she goes into the human world and ends up at a maid cafe in Akihabara.
Because they're trying to do a thing and she accidentally ruins their prospects, and then she says she'll work for them to help make it up to the guy.
Not surprising here. It's, this is, very anime tropes, for lack of better terminology.
Yeah,
Mhm.
you got your magical girlfriend, you got your clumsy maid, you got your guy who's trying to run a maid cafe and just has a real passion for it, but has terrible luck.
Yeah, and your point of view character is named Satoru,
Which is a pretty freaking generic Japanese man's name.
and as it so happens, he looks very generic. Like, you do actually get to see what he looks like in some of the fancier inserts. Like, he's actually got an image, which is more than some other visual novels will do. And he looks pretty. Yeah, that's a pretty typical Japanese guy character. And once again, that's completely intentional because they want him to be you.
Yeah, it's not literally self-insert second person everything. You do split viewpoints between him and Drera, and
right.
But he's definitely supposed to be pretty much a cipher that you can relate to, at least.
Yeah, he's an indirect cipher because he's got a name, a face, and a personality. Because remember, Satoru talks. He has an inner monologue. He's an actual character, about as fully realized as a character like him can be realized. So while he's still intended to be an audience projection piece, he's not a blank slate like, once again, some other visual novels we've covered over the years. And that might be another thing that informs the purchasing decisions of people who might be interested in this game. So it's worth throwing that out. Also, the supporting cast consists of Citra and Haru. They are
two other color-coded Koropokkur.
Yeah, and they have different magical powers.
Although they all have the power to make themselves into humans, apparently, which is slightly disappointing.
Yeah, but they have different powers, and that leads to theoretical comedy hijinks. Granted, there are limitations with the production value of this visual novel, as it's one of those where most of the action is pantomimed by the characters, not actual movement, but
jiggling the art around.
It's like to simulate action,
which kind of makes sense, especially for the Koropokkur, since they are supposed to kind of look like little doll things. So I mean, it's very cute.
Yes, it is. It's practically overflowing with cute visuals, and just it's very light and soft as you'd expect it to be, for the most part. Yes, that is supposed to be ominous. Once again, can't really talk about it unless we throw up a spoiler section here.
Yeah, sorry, I only got about halfway through this.
I was about to say, sorry, I missed my dun there.
I'm like, anyway, so when it comes to Koropokkur, there's really not a way around this. It's a pretty by-the-numbers visual novel, if I'm being honest. I mean, its flavors of uniqueness are with the Koropokkur concept itself.
Aside from the very specifics, it's a magical girlfriend thing. It's a It's a failing maid cafe thing. It's got cute.
If you've watched a number of anime comedy series, you've probably seen this conceit before.
Yeah, the story beats are generally fairly predictable.
I mean, and that's really all I can come up with. It's fine. It's okay. and yeah, your level of emotional investment kind of depends on how much you care for anime comedy and romance. Thankfully, this isn't shoujo romance, so it doesn't take a fucking ice age to get through. I'm like, good God. Like, no, seriously, shoujo romance is some of the most frustrating stuff I've ever read because, just getting to the love confession can take an entire series.
Yes. Yep. Extensive pining over the fact that you aren't entirely sure whether or not you actually like the person, but even if you did, you don't know how you'd say anything because you think that they might possibly be involved with something else that they might have to dedicate their heart to instead of you, and it might not even be another girl. It might be the fact that they're just really into baseball, but...
You've been saving that up for a while.
Yeah, maybe a little bit.
But I will say there is some of that there is some of that here, if only because, it being a love tale, you can't really have it climax, so to speak, in, say, chapter 3. It's like the rules of storytelling are in play. That being said,
there's a significant period of extremely inconvenient cohabitation before they decide to actually like each other.
Let's go with that.
Yeah.
It's like, I mean, I'd say the general time period of Koropokkur takes over about a year. Like, throughout the entire thing. And this isn't a long visual novel. I think for me, it clocked in about 7-8 hours, which is veering on the short to medium visual novel length.
Yeah.
And by Manga Gamer's own standards, this would be one of their shorter ventures.
Yeah, honestly, this is about as long as you can really get without having any branching paths, really.
Yeah.
Thereabouts. It's 7 chapters with an epilogue. It's also reflected in its price, $14.99. That that's their lighter, less big price range. And for $15, yeah, this is fine. This is fine. This is fine for what you get. Like, it's not going to be the most amazing thing ever, but I wouldn't. It's like, if it's what you're looking for, I wouldn't call it a waste of money either. No, it's just my overall.
Just be aware they're not really doing any dramatic new developments in the genre here. For a first attempt, this is a very safe first attempt.
Yeah.
For the most part. I'm like, once again, there's a big thing I am dancing around here. And that is the ending chapter. Like, so, yeah, I'm going to throw the spoiler warnings up at this point.
All right, give me 1 second.
Because, yeah, I kind of don't want to leave the audience hanging on this.
All right, it's up. Proceed.
All right, so, ending spoilers. Right. The big twist is Rira dies. That's the culmination of this story. Well, that's the reason why she goes into the human world in the first place. In order to ostensibly find a cure. But, well, she ended up at the maid cafe, wrecked shit up, and, started working there as a debt of gratitude. And, yeah, the love confession happens just before she dies.
Well then.
Yes. So that's a pretty big consideration in your love stories. To go even further, the epilogue leaves it open that she may have survived. Like, it's not 100% clear who walks in, but it's hinted that she might have gotten better somehow.
Through the magic of love.
Possibly.
The way she dies, it's kind of, leaves you wondering.
Yeah. So, it's kind of David the Gnome in that sense. You're really looking at the last year of a person's life.
Mm-hmm.
And, once again, to bring the shoujo romance here, the whole love confession happens at the end. It's just, there's nowhere, its culmination is also its ending. Because, well, she literally fades out of sight after it happens.
Yeah.
So, and that's the most interesting thing this particular visual novel does. Which
I guess that's a twist that they don't do all the time.
No.
Although in the magical girlfriend subgenre is the place that you will find it usually.
Right. I'm just saying, as far as love stories go, it's not, like, granted, finding that completely original storytelling device is ultra rare in and of itself.
Oh, yeah, they basically don't exist.
Yeah, but what we're talking about here is not exactly the path left traveled, at least if we're talking the heteronormative route. But that's a discussion for another day.
Yeah.
Now, here it's...
Oh, but why can't Satoru just find his true love with other male characters' name not found?
Yeah, it's like... I do not think there's another male character who is named. Maybe, like background passerbys or some shit like that, but yeah... He is literally the only guy.
Customer A, B, C, D, E, or whatever, but
yeah, that's what I'm talking about here. Because, well, once again, the self-insert aspect of the whole production does show itself. Now, this is a bit of a wish fulfillment scenario as well when you have, the 3 cute maid situation.
Yeah.
It's not an actual harem thing because it's established that, the coupling is going to be Satoru and Rira.
Yeah, the other two are pretty well aware of the fact that there's a reason that humans and Koropokkur doesn't usually work together so well.
Yeah.
It's like, Citra and Haru are here for mostly comedy support, but also to help the plot along when they need to. Because, they go from being audience surrogates, they're literally watching this thing from a scrying pond, to becoming active characters in the whole production. So, anyway, as far as, well, spoiler recommendation, I'm like, it does a bit, it does go a bit more on the original path with its ending, so I can recommend it along those lines. Outside of that, if you're not looking for cute love stories, that kind of thing, this isn't that visual novel. Also, once more, it doesn't have any visual novel gameplay to be concerned about. Right. So, final opinions from the rest of the crew here.
It's a visual novel. You can go buy it if you want.
Yeah, as far as the part that I got was, it's very cute. If you're into magical girlfriends and maids, it's pretty harmless. You can check it out.
Yeah,
don't expect, aside from an ending that has a twist that actually counts as a twist, don't expect any real super dramatic story developments.
Yeah, it's a cute.
Like there's no invasion of the brownies from England or something like that.
Okay, then.
Look, I had to think of another small fantasy people thing.
Fair.
Yeah, it's a cute, lighthearted story. It does nothing wrong, so
The writing is
it's
pretty
all
good.
right. Yeah.
This was written in English. There were a couple of things that I think there were a couple of things that jumped out at me that probably suggest that was because even though it takes place in Japan, there were some things that I was like, I'm not sure if that's a thing in Japan, but I don't know. Manga Gamer probably knows better than I do. Like when Satoru's wondering about, okay, is this doll that turned into a lady that turned into a living doll thing real? And he's like, I could go see a doctor, but I don't have the money for that anyway. I'm not sure if that's as much of it. I know that's less of a consideration in Japan than it is here, but it doesn't matter because he wasn't insane. Unless you want to go with, well, no, we get enough stuff from other people's perspective that we know he wasn't insane.
Yeah. Or it could just be super insane. We don't know that. This could all be a fever dream.
No, we actually do know.
I know.
No, I mean that's actually a bit of a story beat in the game. It's like her disease manifests itself by her shrinking in front of a crowd at the last chapter. So, and Haru passes that off as a magic trick of illusion somehow.
CG. Wait, hold on.
If they could make the Statue of Liberty disappear, they can do that.
Anyway, that'll about do it for the review session this week. Coming up on our programming schedule, what do we got Final Fantasy 14 wise?
We should have more run-ins to 09S and hopefully being able to take the group into 10 and fight Midgardstormer, so that's going to be fun.
All right. As far as the main show goes, Tuesday interview got delayed once again. Like, it's a bit of a busy time, October. We're heading into the fall. Anyway, on Wednesday, October 17th, we'll be having Chris Lavia of Tiny Build back on the program. We got a bunch of stuff to talk about. Well beyond any sort of promo we could do here. Like, there's at least 5 new games we got to talk about, in addition to updates to games we previously talked about. Yeah, it's going to be one of those overview interviews. And yeah, until then, I wish you good gaming.